Good morning, and happy Monday, crypto enthusiasts. Hopefully, you guys are having a phenomenal start to your week and coming off a nice, relaxing weekend. How about that week open? 6% dump in the market. Question is, are we finished yet? That's something that we're going to be discussing here today. If you're part of the Liquidity Citadel server, you guys noticed that I posted some shorts before New York Open had began. That's a position that I'm hedged against with my longing from the bottom of this wick, at least in that territory. I do think that we have a potential of revisiting that area. That was the thinking behind opening the hedge short for that. I'm going to be going over a couple different levels for you guys as far as what I'm looking at through the course of the day. And ultimately, what I'm looking for this week, I can't stress enough, is very important from a defense perspective for buyers or bulls, if you will, and ultimately equally defensive for bears if they're going to try to sweep lower lows. This is going to be a pretty important week for us all together. So we're going to dive into all of those scenarios, bullish scenarios, bearish scenarios. We're going to look at high time frames, low time frames. We're also going to be peeking at USDT. We'll look at some Bitcoin as well too, see what's going to mature there inside of those levels and what that's going to relate to as far as for alts altogether. Outside of that, let's dive into some of these charts here real quick and let's get started. Good morning. What's up, Cyber? Good morning, brother. Long to 1860, stop loss hold. You longed 1860 and hold. Yeah, I mean, I've taken profit. I'm looking at some of these shaved bottoms and fair value gaps. It's kind of what I'm looking at right now. We rejected off of, now mind you, lower time frames. We rejected off of this 365 EMA. Relatively pretty strong. So we just cleared this imbalance here. Nice fair value gap that sits here with a shaved bottom that sits inside this zone. But this shaved bottom comes all the way down to all the way down to here, basically, which is entry inside that area. So, this is normal ETH behavior, if you will, in the sense of retracing its pumps. That's typically what it does. Nothing shocking about that. But I do have longs in this area, so I would just be I did take some profits here in this area, so I'd be looking for some add backs in this area with tight invalidation down to these levels. I'll show you here on a 4-hour what I'm looking at, but as of right now, this is kind of like what I'm playing with in the sense of moves down right now. Can we go a little bit lower than this? Yes, we can. So go into a 4-hour. The idea is not there, it's over here, so excuse me. Let's zoom in on that. So these levels are essentially what I'm looking at. You guys saw that I posted inside of my corner yesterday as far as the updated wave count for us. So I'm really looking at 1839 down to 1792. Invalidation of this count would be obviously sweeping 1744, which would tell me two things. One, on the daily, the wave count, the bearish wave count that I shared with some of you guys. I think I shared it with you guys. I think I see it better over here. There. Right, then that's essentially saying, okay, well, wave 3 wasn't done. We weren't done on that wave count. And the monthly for wave A just wasn't complete just yet either. Hold on, guys. I need to change this mouse because this mouse is acting kind of squirrely on me and I can't let it do that to me when I'm in the middle of trying to trade. So, if wave A wasn't done and maybe has a little bit lower to go, that's what I'm looking at. But ultimately, I mean, we are finding, or at least hunting for local bottoms. All right, my coffee's brewing. Hang on. That's important. We need the coffee. Be right back.
So can we just slow
back. Sorry about that. So where was I? You got a lag on your side? I don't know. My frames aren't dropping. My stream's at 0%, so there's no drop frame rates. Maybe it was just like a little snag. But you know, ultimately, I mean, these are kind of some of the bullish ideas. You know, if we're inside of ascending triangle here, you know, we've bounced off this area once before, you know, or it originated here, bounced here. We got another bounce that we did sweep underneath it, but really what we're looking for is we're looking for the close above. And so we got close above. We did get a sweep below it here as well too. And then we obviously pulled right back above it, kind of testing it here again inside of that area. This EMA right here is 365, which is pretty important for higher time frames. So we're gonna come back over to this 8-minute real quick. I'm trying to do something for you guys here. Hold on. If I can get tape surf on here, that'd be fantastic. There we go. I need to fix the crypto exchange. Oh, don't have Bitfinex open. There it is. That's the reason why that's a problem. Let's try that one more time. There we go. I didn't mean to close that. I closed that by accident. There we go. So I really opened on both. There we go. That's better. All right, let's fix this. There we go. Not what I meant to do. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Nah, let me just do this for now. I'll do this in the background. I mean, clearly positioned, but need to fix some things in the back end. I think I need to carve you out by yourself. You need to be carved out by yourself. Go. And let's make sure we can fix that now. There we go. How does it look for busy scene? Okay, cool. Okay, so that works. Okay, cool. Seven was lower than 8 and 9 on 4 hour. Yeah, actually I was looking at earlier today when we were in class. Yeah, that's one thing I was mentioning. We definitely do have a 7 that's lower, so that kind of opens a door for this 4 hour idea to pan out. Looking at, I mean, it took a little bit of profits off of the short. I want to see if the long can maintain itself. Yeah, like let's look at liquidity real quick. Actually, it's not a bad idea. I think I posted this yesterday too. I think I posted this is in the war room. Yes, yeah, we got a nice little pocket that sits right here in the 2000s. That's juicy amount. Juicy, juicy. Yeah, see, they got these cooldowns, but I'm pretty sure we'll probably get some cooldowns here inside this area. Weekly, one thing, yeah, weekly hasn't printed a green dot just yet on us. I was sharing this with one of our students just a little while ago before I hopped into the stream. Let me take this off real quick. Right, because we know how sequential counts like to work, right? Like they like to test previous areas to try to flip it. It's Monday, we dropped 6% on the week open from Asia. Had some recovery during London. So let's look at this level right over here. It's just making the assumption it's this week, right? I don't know if it's going to be this week. Just making the assumption. That's the level that it needs to flip to change the settle phase from a weekly perspective. Don't have a green dot that's printed just yet, and you can see anytime we've gone to the weekly and we've gotten to these green dots right over here, you know, we've had little moves up, whether it's a strong one or a little one, what have you. You know, this moved roughly, what is it, 81% move? Am I reading that right? Yeah, 81% move when it printed that green dot. This one was just ridiculous. This actually came from right here. 222% move. And so we don't have any green dots that printed here just yet. We had a couple right here, but we also had red dots that were printing here. So this was just showing us chop essentially with a red dot here in this area. So I want to see what that green dot looks like as far as where price action is going to be, not what an actual green dot looks like. I know what a green dot looks like. So my thought is maybe if it's this week, we get into this level, maybe a little float down, do some of these, and then we come back down again. Right? Or we can go straight to 1792, 1839, like here and now. That'd be great. But this is, you know, this is printing a 3, so you throw caution to the wind in that regard, because we would definitely need to sweep that just from a sequential count. So like we have to start looking at flipping those areas. But let's assume it's not this week. Let's go into next week, and then we got 1, then it'll be 1, 2, 3, then 4. This would be the next level right over here. That would be the next level, which it's really no difference than these two levels, really, to be quite honest with you. You know, this area right over here was an area of support. So, you know, making the assumption that we can come back over to this area right over here. Now, you know, just play devil's advocate here, right? Just speculating. Let's just make the assumption that price action decides to go from here to here, right? And just kind of hangs around this area. Doesn't break it, so the sequential count is still showing bullish. But then the next week opens and we close above this area right over here. So maybe we come back and tap this level right here, and then we move up. That's what changes the sequential count for us. So it would take like 2 weeks for that to mature. It would take 2 weeks for that to mature. I'm running the long right now on LBank, and then I'm running a hedge positions. Actually, I'm running 3 positions. I'm long on ETH, on LBank, and on Bitfinex, and then I'm hedged short on this move on Bitfinex. Appreciate that, Sniper. Thank you, bro. Thank you for letting everybody know. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we're gonna manage this from lower time frames. I'm gonna get rid of some of this stuff. I don't need it right now. I mean, if we can just kind of hang around inside of this area, and let's go down to that 4 hour. That's not the view, it's this 4 hour view. I mean, if we can just hang around this area, this lines up with this area, this trend line right over here, this massive trend line. So I want to see us kind of hang around here, get our green dots. Then that would give me confirmations that our wave A is done, wave 3 from daily is done, and now we can move into a wave 4 for a daily. We can move into a wave B for a monthly. And then, you know, on the lower time frames that I'm utilizing here, I got a unique time frame here. Yes, I do. You can see it on a 4 hour. I have it bleeding all the way down to like a 4 hour, actually through 24 hours. So you can actually see it from a daily as well too. Right, but this is kind of what I'm looking at here. Don't have any green dots that printed just yet. Trend is running into an exhaustion level, so that's what makes this short over here make more sense for me. You know, I want to see what occurs here inside of these areas. If it decides to, you know, puke and sweep this low from yesterday, because we didn't actually come to a fib level last night. We actually didn't. We front ran it, and just because we have a fib level doesn't necessarily mean that we have to hit that level. It's going to give us a general area for us to tap into. But that level I was looking at was 1839.98. And then the next level is 1792, which kind of makes a little bit more sense because it's coming back into this area. You know, there's obviously demand that sits inside that zone. Actually, let's make a box for that. I want to go to the body. Let me see where that puts us. So anything inside of this area right over here, I feel like would be good opportunities. On the monthly, we have an 1813 fib level as well too. So these are all just coming from memory and previous streams that we've been discussing setups. So I'll utilize this one for the short term, and I'll utilize this one for the higher time frame. Let's look at USDT real quick. And so another reason for the trigger yesterday for me on the long was based on what USDT was doing. You know, very similar to ETH as far as this setup, right? A rectangle bottom. I was looking at a rectangle top for USDT. And I shared this inside my corner yesterday when I was posting the initial entry that I was looking at for ETH before it got invalidated. I was saying, you know, if USDT gets back into the, you know, 8.2 levels, I think I had like 8.24 somewhere in that area, then it's going to be retesting the top of that rectangle, which pretty much did, right? It actually breached it a little bit. Yes, it did. But you can see where the close is beneath it inside this area. So this to me, it's valid. Right, we'd have to actually close above this, and then it would start invalidating these things. These fib levels are not necessarily relevant. It's these fib levels that I'm really focused on, the extension levels. Because if we can get a push down into these areas, that could give us the potential for ETH to come back into those 2200s, then come back and test down again. But that's all, you know, predicting. That's not coming from a like, this is what's going to happen. This is just really breaking down what this current pattern is providing for us, what this means to us overall. When we start going sideways after an impulse like this, usually you're going to see a breakdown inside this area, at least how a rectangle top is going to perform, very similar to a rectangle bottom, right? So massive push down and then kind of moving sideways and being compressed, then there's going to be a breakout that's going to occur. I mean, this would be this would be phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, this would be absolutely phenomenal. But we could also come in a little bit shorter, 23.89 inside that area, and then just come all the way back down. But I have this mapped out for like a best case scenario for us. As of right now, right? Utilizing this time frame. Excuse me. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting sick. It shouldn't be. I think we float around on those lower levels. Yeah, I use logarithmic on fibs. Yep. Some of them don't template, but like I don't think this one templated. But yes, see, like that should be like that. I don't know. It's not templated the right way. My full fib is, but that's not. That changes a couple things for us. That changes a lot for us, actually. That's right. Okay, that's good. Okay. I think that is your most bullish scenario you could possibly look at for, short term. I have two different theses, working with this. Well, there's more than two. There's more than two. There's always a couple different ideas. I think for a very vanilla idea would be the weekly, and making the assumption we're inside of a ascending triangle. Just calling it simple. Can we come down a little bit lower? Yeah, somewhere inside these areas. Yeah, very, very possible. And then here in this idea, I'm not even utilizing wave counts. I'm just going to use a standard pattern. And then the measured move is going to be from the resistance area to your most extreme valley, which was right over here in 2022. And that measured move is literally taken from here. Okay. That's what that looks like. And wherever your breakout area is going to be, I mean, it's obviously a flat level, so wherever your breakout's going to be, I mean, that's your most extreme bullish scenario if you're going to be utilizing an ascending triangle. Can it invalidate? Yeah, obviously it can invalidate. Could it break down to the downside? Of course, absolutely. We would lose that trend line. So it's more of like a classic approach, where most individuals would be longing that trend line. And you can't fault them for that because it's been pretty resilient since 2022. There was resilience in 2025, and now we're testing it again. That's one idea. The other idea is from a monthly perspective. It's not confirmed yet, But the idea from a monthly perspective is, you know, wave A is finding its bottom, and then we start looking at getting into like this 2950 area over here inside this zone, which would change some things on this for me, right? Then I would probably have like a wave 3 over here, then wave 4 coming down to here, and then wave 5 kind of stopping over here. So making the assumption that it's a shorter wave, something like that, and then you get something like that, and then you'll get something that puts us maybe like somewhere around here inside these areas. I could do the math for it. I'm just being a little lazy with it because I don't want to move everything around more than once. But I'll map out an idea for us at some point. So that's assuming, you know, that wave A is going to be complete here on the monthly, and then we can move up, and then there would be another push down to the downside, because we can look at this curvature right here. You know, this curve right here has been since inception, right? Bounce, bounce, bounce. I haven't really come back and retested it just yet. So I'm looking at this as far as possibly being retested. You can see the tops right over here. And then you notice obviously this little accumulation right over here inside this area, which lasted relatively 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, call it 7 months. That lasted 7 months sitting inside of this area, which was range low was 1222. Range low was 1222. And I think there's potential that we can get back there. I have some additional setups and ideas that actually get me to that level, and potentially a little bit lower, like right around like 1100 inside that area. But the way that I like to work, for me, I like to work with probabilities. You know, I don't have a crystal ball here and saying, okay, this is precisely what it's going to do. There's so many different factors, especially when it comes to crypto. Crypto is still, when you compare it to, you know, metals or stocks or any other type of commodity that's out there, it's still very relatively young. So there's a lot of holy cow moves that could occur to the upside and to the downside. So I like to work with different probabilities and saying, okay, well, if this can occur, this is kind of what I'm looking for. And then I have some leading ideas. For me, my leading ideas is that we're finding our bottoms here for wave A, and then we're going to move into a wave B. That's just making it super simple for anybody. And then wave C will come down the road inside of maybe like September, October. You're coming on down. And I'm good with this. I've already taken profits on this stuff so far. So even if it came back all the way to entry, I'm okay with it because we're running the short on a different exchange here. So there's no sweating of that. And that's essentially, that's what the short looks like. That's where we are right now with the short. What's up, late night? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah, man, this weather is not the best. What was it, like 80 something, 70 something the last couple of days, and then out of nowhere it's like, yeah, here you go. Here's 45-degree weather. Yeah. Yeah, the log fibs. I like the log. I mean, I like running on log altogether. I feel like there's a little bit more accuracy with that. It kind of removes a little bit of your own personal bias and allows you to really drill down from a technical and a mathematical perspective. So yeah, log is definitely good. Going down. Yeah, it's up in the air. I mean, I feel like to answer your question, as far as if we're going down, I think we're finding that bottom area. You know, we can go all the way to 1600, you know, and I would still consider that to be bullish retests. Yeah, it's deep. It's a lot lower than what we're anticipating. It kind of blows out some of the lower time frame as far as fib counts, but just adapt, really. That's how I view it. Just adapt. Yeah, I saw this short this morning. Like I was saying, I was with one of our students, and I was looking at this area. I was like, nah, we know what ETH does. And we had some imbalances that were sitting inside of this area. I'm gonna take the actually I'll leave those on. Yeah, we'll leave those on. I'll leave those on. That's fine, I'll leave those on. Alright, so my assumption was saying, okay, well, you know, if we can fill all this jazz over here, you know, if we start finding support inside this area again, then, you know, our chances of going higher are going to start to increase. I really want to see 2172. Like that's kind of like my middle of the road, you know, not being super bullish, not being super bearish either. But I would like to see 2172 this week. That would be perfecto. That'd be perfect. So throughout the course of the day, I mean, I want to see if we can maintain this area here going through the course of the day, and then, you know, we start finding more support here in this area, then I'll add back to my longs. Back to my longs on my side. But if, you know, if we start, you know, just kind of holding this area or anything like that, I'm not going to add to that. I mean, this is a lower time frame. I think the 4 hour over here. Yeah, I don't want to add in this area. I want to see what occurs here, because that makes me a little nervous. Little nervous, not going to lie. This 9 printed higher on this level right here, even though we did get a green dot, I'm pretty confident we're going to revisit that area relatively soon. I would suggest sometime this week, if not today. I'd say by later on this week. And it just basically just filled in this fair value gap. That's all it really did, and then started rejecting, which is relatively pretty bearish. And we rejected off of that 365, so it kind of warranted the short. Like I said, I've been wrong before. Never too proud in this game to ever be like, yeah, I got it wrong, or I overlooked something, or whatever the case may be. Next month, we're going to be doing a couple different giveaways. One of the giveaways that we're going to do for the YouTube channel is going to be for viewers. We're going to do a $100 giveaway once we reach 200 viewers instead of a stream. So if you guys are down for that, you guys will be here. I see a lot of you guys are some of my regulars. I appreciate you guys. But that's what we're going to do. Just a quick note, the VIP access section has been updated. We did add an additional exchange for us. We did add LBank. They have a promotion going on right now where it's like 200% bonus that they'll match. So you can see it there. Let me actually find my Discord. That would be fantastic. There it is. Okay, let me get back to that section so everybody has see what I'm looking at. So you have more than one option right now. If you wanted to trade on Bitfinex or if you wanted to trade on LBank, they're both relatively similar as far as user interface goes. Just both of them are running different promotions. Right now, Bitfinex is running a deposit promotion where if you hold a deposit for like 3 days or more, they start giving you futures bonuses, you know, upwards from I think like from like $20 all the way up to like up to like $500, just depending on what your deposit is. LBank is running a slightly different one where they'll give you up to 200% future bonus based on your deposits. They both come with VIP 3 levels. So once you've made your deposit, just send me your UID and we'll make sure that you get upgraded to a VIP status. This will give you cheaper fees overall. And then obviously if you're trading on one of these referral links, you'll have access to the additional information that sits inside of the training ground area, which is going to be, you know, stuff about harmonics, candle analysis, Elliott waves, liquidity zones, volume dynamics, and there's more that's in here. And then there's additional resources in here. There's literally tons and tons of books from psychology, trading strategies, what have you. There's tons of books that sit right inside this section as well too. And then you'll also have access to the VIP giveaway. Actually, I'm going to do that giveaway for the VIPs inside here. The $100 giveaway for the YouTube. I'm going to do that inside of there. So just a quick heads up, a couple things that we've done in the server, giving you guys more access to more exchanges, giving you guys access to more bonuses that you can take advantage of. Yeah, there's money on the table, take advantage. Did anybody short that with me this morning? Did anybody catch that? I don't think Solar's here, but I know Solar and I were discussing that in class this morning. But I'm not sure if anybody else did. We are going to restart the trading challenge. Going into next month. So we're going to give everybody a fresh start. Uh, 1906. So good. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? You got a 5-minute low. Is that what you're tracking? You're tracking that range? Which is right underneath here. Or is it here? It's right here. Yeah, it's right there. Yeah. We're breaking against it right now. So it kind of points towards going a little bit lower. You guys missed it. Dang it. Dang it. Well, just a quick reminder, guys, the setups, if you're ever curious as to like, yo, what is Saint doing on these streams in the sense of like setups, things of that nature, it's always going to be inside of this live stream section right over here. You know, this is where you can see all the playbacks. And this area, like for example, so for today, this was today's stream that we're in right now because it's the market's stressful. But the setups will come out before we go live. You can see the time stamp, you know, 9:01. This is what I was looking at. We were right at that level right when it occurred. So if you don't have the ETH roll, just as an FYI, you know, come over to the Citadel rolls right over here. And if you click on this little dude with the sunglasses right over here, you'll get those rolls. It's for BTC, ETH, and Sol. So if I'm posting anything that's related to any one of those pairs during the stream, I'll post it inside here, inside this area. So this was the short that I was looking at inside this morning. But just a quick heads up, in the event that any of you guys ever get lost in the sauce, that's something that you could always go back to and see what I'm doing specifically. Maybe you're watching this later, you know, maybe couldn't make the stream or anything like that, and you wanted to dive into what those thought processes were looking like. In the beginning of the streams, I always open up with what I'm looking at for the day, what are going to be some of my targets. So literally like the first like maybe 5-10 minutes, I'm just kind of peeling back the onion, for lack of better terminology, as far as what I'm looking at, what I want to see occur. And then we just start managing it from there. Yesterday and today, I feel like is all about building the positions. I feel like there's going to be a good move going into Tuesday and Wednesday, in my opinion. Took some losses on that stop loss yesterday. It was a good hit, but I was able to quickly make up for it. But it was a good hit. I'm just sharing that because, you know, although there may be some wins and things like that, and some of the setups may come to fruition, you know, there are still losses that occur. There are losses. The point is just to minimize the losses. So, you know, out of 15 different trades that I'll take, I may have maybe about 2, maybe 3 different losses that are in there. And that's not said to impress you, just to press upon, you know, how risk management works for me, running with a higher leverage, you know, having tight stop losses, just due to invalidation, and just sticking to that, So, you know, I was pointing out here on the 8-minute, you know, invalidation would be, you know, us closing here on a 4-hour above this area. You know, if I get stopped out in that area, I think it's like a $30 loss, something like that. Oh. You will not FOMO. I mean, Good called it out earlier. I mean, we're rejecting here inside this area. I feel like those are always risky, right? Because it could always come right back up and retest this area. What was the high for that? Let's just mark that off for good measure. Yeah, that's your range right there. That's your little range right there. And there's, you know, remember with the sessions, like even if you miss an entry or anything like that, there's always going to be an opportunity for you to get back in. So if you're trading, you know, these type of ranges, you can do it on a 5 minute, you can do it on a 15 minute, you can do it on a 30 minute. I just so happen to use a 5 minute because that's just my setup, how I do it. But you can do the exact same thing on a 15 minute, measuring the peak high or the low at 9:30, and then running that for that session, which is 15 minutes. So at 9:45, you'll see where your peak is, and whatever side breaks. You know, obviously 15 minute compared to a 5 minute will give you better data. So you can run it from that gamut as well too. The point is you know, if we start breaking against those levels, that's pointing towards, you know, there's more downside to start collecting. And this is kind of like where I like to start playing around with it and looking at, I mean, you could look at it one way. That's a little steep. That's one way. The other way would be, that's one way. I mean, I feel confident, like, you know, from here to here, you know, this is a XA leg. I think the question for me is really, you know, where's this B leg? Is this my B leg, or is my B leg here? You know, I do have a 9 failure that already occurred here inside this area. So maybe I get a sweep and I can come down to here. I'll come right back again. And then we'll get a Navarro. That's a Navarro setup. And maybe it doesn't go that high. Maybe it just comes to this 365 again, somewhere inside this area right here. Still Navarro though, because of the bottom. And it could come down a little bit lower because I do have a shaved bottom that sits right here. Actually, is that where that's at? Let's go a smidge lower. Somewhere like right around there. Still Navarro. What is this? Why do I have 18? Oh yeah, because I think I was mapping this out from somewhere else. Okay. Okay. What's up, Danny? Good morning, brother. Yeah, to answer your question, Whacker, you know, the bigger move for me, I think would come from these levels right over here, inside these zones. You know, a couple reasons for that. I mean, from an imbalance perspective, I'm utilizing a 1362 time frame, which is roughly around like 22.7 hours. So it's just shy of a daily. You can use a daily if you don't want to use unique time frames, but that's essentially what I'm using. I'm using something that's a little bit different, seeing data that's a little bit shorter than a daily. So I'll see the moves a little bit first from that perspective in comparison to daily. But this is kind of what I'm looking at here on the 1362. You know, I don't have a green dot that's printed just yet. That's one part. And I don't have a green dot that's printed here on the weekly yet either. So my thought is saying, okay, well, if we can get to these areas and maintain these zones and start getting some green dots that are printing, then yeah, I think the bigger move would occur either here. This would be the first stop, right? Like check the temperature, for lack of better terminology, see what's going on at 2400, which is relatively a decent zone. Yeah, let's just look left. You know, this was an accumulation area, so coming back and retesting that area and then having a breakdown. If we see acceptance, then we get back into these levels, which relatively there's some resistance that sit over here. If you just look at the crosshairs and look left, you can see kind of what's going on here in this area inside these zones. So, you know, there's support levels that sit at this area that were tested, so there's potential that occurs. And you know, I could be wrong about this count. What I mean by that is, you know, this could ultimately be the wave 4 on the daily, which puts us right inside of these areas. You know, maybe moving wave 4 into this area right over here, inside this zone. Like I said, I could be wrong about that. But I will be looking for like longs inside those areas. I 100% will be looking for longs inside those zones. You know, I'm start looking at TPs as we get down to like 1880. All right, let's take a little bit of profit off of that. And then looking at the next level right over here, because I have a shave bottom that sits right here inside the zone. So maybe look at some TPs here. And then Sniper was just pointing out earlier, you know, we have a 9 failure that sits right over here. So if we sweep that area, that opens the door for 1839, which is right over here. I can get there at some point. Right in here in this area. And let's look left. I mean, that's difficult to do on an 8 minute. It's just too cluttered. But you'll see it here. It's this level right over here. Excuse me, 1832. I don't know why I said 1839. It's 1832. Actually, we can do this right now. I'm gonna delete that later. But let's just look at that and let's go down to like maybe like a 1 hour. Yeah, see this area right over here. And we closed right above it, but we never came back and retested it. So that's what opens that door for that. Everyone that longed, including myself, you know, 1854. But I've already taken profits off of it though so far. So, you know, for my position, I can come all the way back down, and I'm perfectly fine with that because I'm hedged short on it. So there's still profit being made off of that. I think getting into today and through the remainder of the day, going into tomorrow, Wednesday, I think those bigger moves are going to occur. Be right back, guys. I'm going to get some more coffee. What's up, boy? What up, boy? Good morning, brother. How you doing? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Now it's just that waiting game, right? I think majority of the moves are going to occur by like around 11:30, and I think that's when you start seeing people scale out, and then you start seeing like retail getting in more into the market. You know, institutional money was already in like 8 a.m. and if not earlier, and then the real moves start occurring like actually when cash markets open. So like right at 9:30, that's when the real move starts beginning, or the expansion of the real move starts occurring around 9:30, but the development of it typically occurs around 7:30, 8 o'clock. So like an hour and a half before market opens is usually when it occurs. As of lately, I've noticed London for like maybe all throughout the entire month, maybe even the beginning of the year. I'll go back and look at sessions and I'll break that down. But London has really been taking the ball and really making moves. London and New York. Asia's had some moves. I mean, obviously there was a move on Asia just yesterday. 6% drop. It was pretty intense. It literally just opened and said, "You're going down. You're going down, buddy." I usually run to about 1:30, but I might just run to straight like 11:30 today. I'm starting to feel a little bit under the weather myself personally. I feel it in my nose. So I'm gonna start drinking some teas and kind of relaxing. And you guys can hear it in my voice. I'm starting to lose my voice at certain instances. So maybe I got a head cold coming. I don't know. But I'll get some rest, take some meds, and then that way tomorrow we can go ham on it. I'll still be inside the server. Don't get me wrong. But when you feel like dog water and talking for 4-6 hours straight doesn't actually promote mental clarity. So we'll hang out here for like another 45 minutes or so, maybe a little bit longer. USDT key. If you can just, I don't know, just that'd be great. I think, and that's from a 4-hour. What do you look like here? And you got a sell dot. You're gonna start coming down. All right, I'm gonna start scaling out of that short here. I'm gonna start taking some profits on that. So I don't think I'm gonna get the juice that I'm looking for on that one. Because if this thing starts cascading down, you know, 7.7 ETH is gonna move. And just give people a heads up on here, because everyone's gonna be like, I held it and I re-entered where you did. How come it's not going down? What is this? A 4-hour for USDT, and got 14 more minutes. So let's see what develops here. Maybe a little pop up like that, little push up into this bar right over here, and then we can come right back down. That would be the ideal move, right? Push up first, then come down. Yeah, and look at that. Yeah, look at that, look at that. So I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna give this 15 more minutes. I'll give it a little bit more time. I want to see wherever this next candle, next 4-hour session, wherever USDT decides to land. Maybe it gives me an additional little flush down. Maybe I can get into this level right over here, into this zone, and then we can move back up. And what is that? 1880s and some change. So yeah, it's right inside these areas. And I'm gonna hunt for some add backs to wrong page. You got large short orders stepping in now. Bum, 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 bum. Dang, how are you gonna go from that song to this song? Wim Hof method? No, I'm not familiar with that, brother. But I'm down to learn it. Yeah, you want to share some ideas on it? I love studying different stuff. Oh, actually, that just reminded me. I have a new indicator I was working on yesterday. I need to finish that script. It's a stochastic one. Dang that work, Danny. How does work get in the way? How dare work get in the way? Jokes, 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 jokes. It's all good. I mean, just looking at USDT, that 4 kicking you. We got 9 minutes left, so we'll pay attention to that. See what occurs there. A heavy defense on 1900s. Yeah, I'm really interested in like this 1880 area because I think there's a shaved bottom right here. I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, there's a shaved bottom that sits right here. And there's another one that sits here too. Oh no, there's not. You know what? I'm not gonna make my life difficult. I'm just gonna throw in the indicator. Yeah, there's one there. And there's one here. And there's a little cluster of them sitting right over here. That's if USDT decides to say, you know what, I'm gonna open, come right up here, and then come back down. Let's mark these off, just so we have them. This little cluster is the one that I'm kind of concerned with, just being frank. All those different levels. I mean, just because we have imbalances doesn't necessarily mean we have to fill them. Just giving us targets of where price action would potentially be going. I got my eye on you, USDT. I got my eye on you. Oh, snap. Dang it. I think I just saw it. Oh man, I got a 9 failure there on a 4 hour. Son of a gun. That's not good. I just saw that. That's not good. That's not good at all. That's not good at all. Then that would definitely, this level will be dog water. Dog water. We'll probably come back into this area right over here easily. What was that? What did we say earlier? 1832? Oh yeah. Sweep that area. Yep. So let me do this for you guys. This is what I'm gonna do. Come on, Saint, can you spell? It's okay. Like I said, mental clarities will deteriorate when you start feeling like crapola. I'm gonna post this inside the stream section for us, just so you guys know. All right. Now it's really just going to be a question of, you know, which direction do we get first? Do we come down and then it pushes all the way up? Yo no sé. Let me adjust this USDT. There we go. That's written better. Oh, thanks, good. I appreciate it, bro. I just got your message. Thank you, bro. Here I'm thinking it's a trading strategy. It's a breathing technique. Okay. That's what's up. Thank you, bro. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't get too high? No. I can't do that at my age. Did we break? Okay, we broke 1900s. Okay, good. All right. At 4 hours about to kick in, right? All right. Let's watch this 4 hour on USDT. The red dot disappeared on a 4 hour. Yeah, you little bugger. It disappeared here. Yeah. I don't want to rest. What did I say? 1832. I'll just do 1833 just so I can. Whoops. It's too many digits. All right. I just set a limit for 1833 just as an FYI, if anybody's curious. Oh, in 1833. Horizon. Thousands, oh, in numbers. There you go. Come on. not areas that I have an interest in longing. I'm just more flat and neutral inside this zone right now. Just looking at USDT. There you go. Come on. I mean, bro, you've been on steroids for like forever and a day. Might as well just keep juicing. Might as well just keep juicing. Bam. Around 188, okay. Oh. Are you gonna go down first and then come back up? Yeah, keep that momentum. Use the restroom real quick. I'll be right back, guys. There you go. Keep going. How are you green here, bro? Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you. Six. Need a 4-hour here. I want to look at one thing real quick. I'll be super fast. Look at you. You son of a donkey. You lined up right with that. Alright, cool. Go back. Go back, go back, go back, go back, go back. Alright. I'm good with that. Keep going. I took a little bit of profits off of this short. The logical thing would be to sweep this, yes, but I just still took a little bit of profit off the short. Excuse me. Are we coming to a first level? Yeah, this is our first level, that 1882 that I was talking about. Look, it's testing that. So that's why I was just taking some profits here in this area. This first little level right here. We just cleared this imbalance right over here. Now we have another one that sits right here. Actually, no, I'm wrong about that. That's the second time I think I've said that. But no, I don't have an imbalance that sits there. It's underneath here. Actually, I don't even need this on. I don't need you on. Stop. Yep. So just cleared that imbalance. Let's look at that 4 hour again. Yeah, if you could just die here, that would be great. Maybe it comes back and revisit it on a later date, later time. Yeah. I had limits at 1948 in the event that we went to 1948. I removed those. I just took profits on mine. I'm moving my short stop loss to 1918. So I'll be stopped in profits there. I've already took like 152 off the board for that. Easy little quick little scalp. Because if this thing doesn't, I mean, we're going to print a red dot here. We already printed one and then it faded away as we had that little move. And we just cleared that imbalance in that area. I need to look at my bigger position. Just fine at the moment. It's so tempting to long that area. It really is. It's so tempting to long that. Give me that green dot. Give me that green dot. Come on. Get me in there. Come on, one little push. One little push. I mean, my long is fine if you keep going up. I'm perfectly fine with that ETH. I don't really care. And I already took profits off the board off of that, so I'm good there. Okay, we double check one thing. And that's what that looks like. Okay. So I think we have a little bit better assessment on that. Remember we were playing around with this idea over here? Oh my gosh, stop. Yeah, maybe I will reshort that. I'm gonna remove my stop loss on. I took profits. I would just probably look back for an add back on that, see what occurs. This may not get to that area. I'm looking at this EMA right over here. That's in the event that this thing decides to just go boom, boom. I'm waiting for that green dot to print. I wanted to long that I didn't. I really wanted to. Literally came to that imbalance level. Rookie move, Saint. You should have longed it. Let's see what we can get back over here. You don't supply? Good. Yeah, sure. Give me a book. I'm happy to read. Yeah, anything you guys want to send over. I don't know if that was for me or if that was good, but I want to read. Wow. Woo! Look at that. What did USDT just do? There it is. Oh, look at you. You little tease. You little tease. Let me look at USDT one more time. Yeah, you're gonna give me a red dot, bro. You're gonna give me a red dot. You're gonna give me a red dot. Let's scale out of this a little bit more. And give me a wave B here. It'd be great if you could. I'm gonna see if I can actually add back to a long on this. Yep, I'm going to take the risk here. I set a very tight stop loss on this. I added back to my long on that. I want to see this start breaking down here in this area because it has a shaved bottom inside this area, and this 4 hour just opened. We're only 15 minutes into it. I'm looking for the opposite of move, right? Like if it starts moving up first, you're usually going to retrace a good chunk of that candle. So for me, that was my logic. Oh, got it, bro. Thank you, bro. I got you, Doug. I got you. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Let's go. Let's go. All right, so the add back to the long wasn't that bad. A little risky, I'd be targeting over here just as an FYI if anybody's curious. It's like, what the heck are you looking at, Saint? quick little 3-hour ban. 3-hour ban. That's what I'll be looking at. And if it keeps running, keeps running. That's fine. I want to see this thing just like hunker down. I'm starting to feel like dog water right now, guys. Look at that. You went right to a 618. Yo, good. Was this the 618 that you're referring to for USDT? Or were you talking about ETH? You're talking about USDT or talking about ETH? I just caught that. I know you were talking about 0.88 or 618. Yeah, 0.88 is right over here too. Yeah. Maybe that's what you're looking at. You can get off. That'd be great. Thank you. All right, cool. So the add backs were not bad. I just didn't add back on the bigger position, but that's okay. That is okay. There we go. Oh, I'm breaking it high. Break that high. There you go. There you go. There you go. Oh, excuse me. Oh, ETH, okay. I can slowly feel it starting to impact me. I'll put this idea inside the stream real quick. The stream section for us, just so you guys have it for reference. All right. But I am slowly deteriorating here and I can feel it. So, is there anything I can answer for you guys? Anything you want me to go over real quick? More than happy to do so. Just shoot. Feeling a little bit under the weather. I can feel it all up in here. So I'm going to rest a little bit. But if there's anything I can answer for you guys before I disengage with you guys, please let me know. Happy to answer. I still have the limits for 1833 in the event that we come back down to these levels. I still have those limits. I want to see what happens here with USDT. Look at USDT breaking on that 618. Just die, Retty, please. Just die, Retty. Oh my gosh, that would be so juicy. Gosh, that'd be so juicy. 7.71, that would be really, really good. That would look fan-freaking-tastic. I mean, if it came all the way down to here, then this idea will get invalidated real quick. Real quick. Real quick. You'll see a small little surge. Actually, the weekly will probably pull all the way back into itself. All the way back into like 1982 inside of those areas. And higher. I just need a nice little red dot here on this 4 hour. Just come on down. Come on down. Okay, I will. I got you, bro. I got you. I know. A little bit of a shorter stream. I get it. You guys want me to sit there and entertain you. No, I'm joking. You guys like to vibe, and I love vibing with you guys. But obviously what's more important is always going to be health. You know, can't have a healthy mind or healthy body. It's going to be very difficult to trade altogether. You know, let alone explain these things with full thought and the right thought, right? Not being clouded altogether. So I'm going to take the remainder of the day, get a little bit healthier, come back stronger tomorrow. Like I said, I'll be inside the server. You know, I'll have my tablet with me, probably just parked up on the couch or laid up in the bed. But I will be monitoring them for you guys. So if you guys have any questions or anything that jumps out, just ping me inside the war room, or, you know, shoot me a DM if you want to, you know, have a little bit more of a private conversation in that regard. Outside of that, thank you guys for vibing with me. Made a little bit of profits today here on the stream on that short. And then we had our add backs here on our longs. Now it's just all about managing them. I think going into the remainder of the day, as I was mentioned, like around 11:30, I think that's when a lot of big boys get out. And I think it'll be a lot of managing between now 11:30 until about 4:30 time frame. And then when Asia starts to kick in again, that's when we're going to start seeing more moves. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I think, are going to be the more profitable weeks for us. So if we come down to those 1833, even 1792 levels that I was mentioning for you guys, I'll just show you one more quick time here. It's on the 1362 4 hour. You can see it on the daily, but it sees the levels. Actually, 1788. I'm sorry, 1792. Was not the level. It's 1788. So 1832 to 1788. If we can maintain those levels from a wave 2 count perspective, then yeah, I mean, we're gonna have some impulsive moves, and I wouldn't be looking for shorts until we get into, you know, at least like 2400s. I check the weather, see what's going on over there. But if we get a nice strong impulse, you know, this is still bearish retest inside this area, but I mean, that's good profits for us from a subwave perspective. So 29.90, even 24.34 is going to be a good level for us altogether. So we're going to look at those levels on the downside first, see if we can maintain those. If we can maintain those, obviously we start moving up. If you did short with me, just maintain it. I did take some profits off of it in the event that I run back up on a lower time frame. You know, I don't want to fumble with those profits altogether. So please follow suit. You know, manage your risk accordingly. Be safe going through the remainder of the day. Quick, short, profitable morning, which is a good start to the week. Outside of that, I love you guys. God bless you. That's the most important. Please let peace be with you and rest be with you through the remainder of the week and